This is a BrandiRawks production.
Today I'm going to be talking to you about local lakes and some fishing tips in those local lakes. We're going to kind of make this a Q&A session, so if anybody has any questions on any of the local lakes in this area, give it a shot. I would dare say I'll probably be able to tell you a little bit about the lake that you're asking about. So I grew up in this area for about 23 years now, if you believe that. And I'm 24 now. No. So I grew up in this area. I fished just about every lake in Oakland County, most of them in Macomb, most of them in Wayne, Washtenaw, Lenawee, Genesee, all these counties in this area here in southeastern Michigan. You'll probably stump me on a few lakes, but like I said earlier, if I didn't fish that lake before, I'll lie to you and tell you I have, and I'll just guess at where the fish are at. First and foremost, I want to talk to you folks about what we have in these local lakes in this area, okay? I get people all the time come in and they say, Todd, where's the best place to go largemouth fishing? You know, I live down in Royal Oak, you know, I'm kind of in the city a little bit. I want to go to a good lake for largemouth. We're very blessed in this area. We've got a plethora of lakes in this area that's got giant largemouth. A couple of gentlemen were in yesterday. I talked to a guy yesterday that caught a 7-pound plus largemouth out of Kent Lake. I think he's standing here in the crowd right now. Lake Orion, another big fish lake. Cass Lake, big fish lake. Pontiac Lake's got some decent fish in it. Over the years, Pontiac Lake's kind of come down a little bit, and the people that have fished Pontiac Lake a lot will see it's a big numbers lake. You're going to catch a lot of fish in Pontiac Lake, but they're not going to be big fish, okay? If you're looking for big fish, you want to look at some of the other lakes. Stony Creek is another lake that's got some big fish in it, and a lot of people overlook a lot of these lakes. Bald Mountain Recreation Area has got some lakes in it that's got some huge fish. And a lot of people overlook that stuff because they think, well, it's a public lake, it's a public park. A lot of people are going to be in there beating these fish up. It probably doesn't have a lot of fish in there. I can think of 3 or 4 lakes in the Bald Mountain Recreation Area that's got some absolute giant fish in it. So don't overlook your public rec areas, for sure. The second thing is on all the state land that we have in this area, we've got a lot of these small ponds and small backwaters to the other lakes. Don't overlook some of those. Some of the biggest fish I've caught in Oakland County, I've caught dragging waders back in through the woods with me with a fishing rod, flipping stick or something, get back in there and do some wading and catch some big fish back in there. You don't need a lot of water for largemouth. The second thing we have is the smallmouth, my favorite by far. And we're very lucky to have the lakes that we have in this area for smallmouth. Kent Lake, Cass Lake, Union Lake, Mesa Day Lake, what's some of the other? Loon Lake, Squaw Lake. Squaw Lake actually has some dynamite smallmouth in it, and people don't even know they're in there, realistically. I mean, I've fished probably, I'm going to guess probably 10 tournaments or so out of Squaw Lake over the years, and 90% of the field were fishing for largemouth because they didn't know the smallies were in there. So, which brings me to my next thing, is these maps, our local maps, our DNR websites. Scott Moody, he's a wealth of information. If you ever have a question on a local lake and Scott's in here working, you come in and see Scott. He knows a lot about all these local lakes in this area. But we have it all. We have it all, and we're very lucky to have it all. You know, you go to other places in the world, I get folks from Tennessee and Kentucky saying, you know, hey, you need to come down here. You want to catch big fish, come down to Tennessee and Kentucky. And then I get them up here and they go, wow, wait a minute. Where'd all these big fish come from? They can't believe the size of our largemouth up here. Lake Orion, perfect example. Natural alewife population in Lake Orion. One of the only lakes in the area that has it. Scott, do you know of another lake that has a alewife population? Maybe Mesa Day. Yeah, I've heard that. I've not seen them myself, but Lake Orion's just jammed with alewives. Does everybody know what an alewife is? Nobody? An alewive's a bait fish. It's kind of like a small shad, and very high in protein. And that's why those largemouth, those alewives get out in the middle of that lake and they kind of school up on the surface in the evenings when the water's nice and calm. And I think they come up and they're feeding on bait fish or on plankton and freshwater shrimp I've seen. And you can sit out on Lake Orion on a calm summer night and watch these bass just busting on these alewives all over the surface. That's why they're so big in that lake. Crayfish, alewives, the other bait fish that are in there. They stocked Lake Orion with walleyes a few years ago. the walleyes are just getting giant in Lake Orion right now because of those alewives that are in there. So a lot of people don't know what we have in our local lakes in this area. And it's unfortunate. You got to get out there and you got to fish them and you got to see what's in there. So does anybody have a question right now on one of the local lakes?